What can help me to get into a regular writing routine? I'm going to share with you 6 hot tips from psychology. So first of all, then, we're going to look at the role of biorhythms. And I must admit that until I studied this subject at university, I thought that slightly made up things that maybe you read about in a woman's magazine or something. However, they are an absolute thing. They are a real thing, and there is concrete evidence which shows how they can be helpful, very, very helpful for us. So let me just share my screen slightly larger. So yeah, it's really easy to dismiss and sort of sneer at biorhythms. However, there's a lot of evidence to show that we are either larks or night owls, and you'll probably know this yourself. If you think about when you feel the most alert. So when your kind of brain is awake, when you're the most productive, it's etc. And so night owl then is somebody who is best in the evenings at night time. And a lark is the opposite. And so a lot of research shows that if we can do tasks when we are most alert, then generally speaking, that is incredibly helpful, both in terms of productivity, the amount that we get done, but also, how kind of good, inverted commas, it is as well. So my advice would be to figure out whether you are a lark or a night owl, and then if possible, or as much as possible, try and see if you can write when you are most alert. And correspondingly then, if we can try and organise all the other tasks. I know it's not always as easy as that, but if we have control over our daily schedule, the tasks that don't require mental alertness so much, so things like cleaning and hoovering and tidying, where the actual mental alertness thing isn't so critical, if we could do those when we are not as sort of at our best, then that can free up time for tasks when we are. So that's number one. Number two, then, to write at the same time of day, if you can do. And this is because we are obviously, as humans, aren't we? We're creatures of habit. And so too are our brains. Did you know that? And so what happens then is that our brain very, very quickly learns. So, if we write at 2 p.m. or 9 a.m. or 12:15 p.m. at lunchtime, or 11 p.m. in the evening, etc., our brain very, very quickly learns that this is writing time. This is the time to get creative. This is the time to fire up the imagination. And then what happens is that the time of day, it literally kind of sets off an alarm, if you like, in our brain, and acts as a cue. So then we realise, okay, so it's time to get the keyboard out and start writing. And so once we realised it, then what happens also then is that it also, writing at the same time of day, because it's a habit, it's something which our brain has learnt, it therefore also fires up the initiation of that particular activity. And there's a lot of research to support this. So if you can write at the same time of day, I know it's not always possible, but if you can do, then your brain will help you. So number three, then, if you can use your location, so where you write, the place where you write, this can also help you. And this is because location acts as a mental cue too. And so what happens then is that your brain, when you are in that place, your brain again remembers and tells you, sets off the alarm bell. Okay, I'm in that place. I'm at the desk. I'm at the dining table. I'm in the cafe. I am on the train, or wherever, and fires up then the alarm to get you started. And this is particularly useful and particularly the case if we have a dedicated place in which to write. So we always, write at our desk and, or in a particular place, but we only do writing there. And I know that this isn't always possible at all. But where it is, it can help. But there is a way, quite a clever little hack that you can use then to help yourself. So if you have a desk and you do your day job, or you do other work, or you do whatever at that desk, or if you share a location with other people, so you write in a cafe and you can't always write at the same table by the window, for example, or you have hot desks, or something like that, and then you have a shared location, then what you can do is kind of perform a little ritual that demarcates in your brain the same thing. So it's basically like setting it up as a dedicated place. Okay, so a ritual doesn't have to be, we're not talking here about, some kind of sacrifice, or the letting of blood. I am, of course, joking. But, what you can do is, depending on where you are, some little ritual that just signifies to your brain, hey, it's writing time. So it might be then that you want to light a candle, or that you play a particular piece of kind of mood music that really fires you up. And if you do that each time you sit down to write, again, it fires up your brain to get moving. Hey, it's writing time. So next one then, make it easy to write the first sentence of whatever it is that you're working on. So there are a number of ways that you can do this. When you stop writing, you can leave a note for yourself. You can either type it literally into your text, or you can put a sticky note or a post-it on your screen, or whatever it is that you're writing, and leave a note for yourself about what the next scene is going to be, so that when you sit down to write, you don't have to, oh my gosh, where was I? It also helps then, and this kind of sort of follows on, if you can leave off when you stop writing, leave off either halfway through a scene itself, or leave off halfway through a sentence. So all you have to do when you sit down is to actually finish that sentence. And then the way that the brain works is that the sentence will actually act as a cue to prompt your brain into remembering what the next bit was going to be. Okay, so another way then that you can kind of help yourself is to agree with yourself that you will write a certain amount of words, 200, 500, whatever it is, 750, 1,000. So either on a word count, or you will write for a certain amount of time. So 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. And then you will stop. So if you stop while you're still really, really fired up and you're really, really loving it, then what's going to happen? You're going to be so keen to get back to it the next time around. And then guess what's going to happen? So you will then be much more likely to get back to it the next time, and be much more fired up when you sit down to do so. So then looking at the role that others can play. So writing is obviously, as we all know, generally speaking, it's a solitary activity. And it can be really helpful then to hook up with other people. And so it's useful just kind of thinking about what works for you. Sometimes this might depend on whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, but you might find it valuable to use others then to kind of share your goals. So to make yourself accountable, you externalize what your goal is with them, if you find that helpful. Or it may be that just simply being in the company of others and writing together, that you find that really, really helpful. So it can be, for example, then that it increases motivation and this shared endeavor. So being with other like-minded people who are also doing the same thing is hugely reinforcing and motivating. And of course, also, if you are meeting up with others, whether that's, virtually, so on Zoom, or whether you are actually meeting up physically and writing together, then there are social benefits to all of those as well. And those two are reinforcing. And so, you can, for example, write for 20 minutes, half an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, whatever works for everybody. And then you can stop maybe, and have a chat for 10 minutes and have a, cup of tea or a coffee or something like that. So lastly, then, a really useful thing is to get into a particular mindset that you are going to write. This can really help if you have already done an audit of your day, and that is basically looking at how you spend your time, literally from the moment you get out of bed to when you get back into bed to go to sleep at the end of the day. What are all the things that you do? Evaluating then whether they align with what your values and priorities are. So if it is really important to you to write and you are not spending any time at all on any day doing writing, then you can obviously make a commitment with yourself to to adjust that, basically. And so once you have decided whether or not it is important to you to write regularly, then don't get into a discussion inside your head. We do it with all sorts of things, don't we? Doing exercise, going to the gym, doing this, doing that. Oh, I don't know if I do. Maybe I'll do it later. Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, yeah, I did it yesterday, so it's fine. I don't need to do it today. Nope. No discussion at all. You are going to write. And then if you have already pre-agreed with yourself, then put it in your diary what time you're going to do it, how long you're going to do it for, and where you're going to do it. You are much more likely to do it. So I hope those are helpful. And that's it then for these tips.